Hi, today I thought I'd take a look at the G.I. Joe Real American Hero Compendium 1 from Image Comics. Now, these compendiums are something that they do for Spawn and other Image Comics. Now that they have the rights to G.I. Joe and Transformers, they can do this. Now, this thing, deceptively, I'm only showing you the cover here. This thing is massive. Look at this. Look at this. This is 50 issues. It's the first 50 issues of the 1980s G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. Here's the spine. There you go. And here's the back. And you see the price right here. It's 65 USD and 87 Canadian. There you go. This is awesome. As soon as I saw that this was going to be available, I pulled it immediately. I think there's a misconception out there that you can only get this as a Kickstarter, but I pulled this from my comic shop from League of Comic Geeks, and here it is. Now, I love this thing. There aren't a lot of special like articles or anything in here. It's just the comics, but I dearly love it. First of all, I love that the pages, all of them, are the old newsprint. So it looks and feels like the original comics. Here are the credits. Of course, Larry Hama wrote the whole run. And here is the first issue. The covers are, of course, in newsprint as well, with this little border around it. The colors pop. They're pretty good. They've... I mean, I don't see a lot of Ben-Day dots here, but all the art is right on point to what you remember from the original comics. And once again, I love that it's the old newsprint. It's so great. G.I. Joe, of course, was relaunched in 1982 as G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. And you see here the original Joes. They were all basically in uniform. Stalker is awesome. I had Puffy's sticker set from the original launch of G.I. Joe, and his sticker was the best. It was like a big one where he had this rocket pack and he's flying around with a gun. It was so cool. Yeah, G.I. Joe relaunched in 1982 after encountering a lot of success in the 60s and 70s as an action figure. It branded the term action figure. Here's rock and roll. And here they are in the Middle East, I think. Yeah, G.I. Joe didn't shy away from world politics of the time. And of course, it was the Cold War and everything. So when it relaunched, at the time, they couldn't do cartoons just yet. So they launched it as a comic book. And Larry Hama was tapped to build out the world and write the file cards for every single one. And write this comic book. And Larry Hama has stayed with the franchise ever since. Here's a great pinup of Stalker flying under and then over these jets. It's so great. And you have his little file card thing here. Let me center this better. Here in issue 6. This only contains the original G.I. Joe. I don't know if they're going to do special missions and stuff for the next installment of these compendiums. I'll be right there when they do. Here's some cool imagery of vehicles that we didn't get. So when it relaunched, this comic book was very popular. I think there was probably some resistance. I think Jim Shooter said there was some resistance in the beginning, like we're basing this on a toy and all this stuff. But they had done it before with Shogun Warriors and Micronauts, etc. And here you see this is the filler page that they use. There's usually some graphic for filler pages where they want to cheat it into the cover on the next page. This is issue 10. So yeah, the cartoon, of course, came out a little later. There were 2 miniseries, 1 year after the other, until they did season 1, and then season 2, and then, of course, the movie. Some people think of the miniseries as season 1 and season 2. The Mass Device, which it wasn't called The Mass Device. It was called like The Adventures of G.I. Joe, I think. And what was the other one? The Weather Dominator. So yeah, these are a lot more, I wouldn't say adult, but a lot more thoughtful and realistic than the cartoons. Cartoons, of course, are going to have a lot of like, ghosts and monsters and stuff like that in science fiction and stuff as well. But this felt more military. See Major Blood here. See Duke here. Duke's drawn a little weird here. Looks like the he looks like the statues on Easter Island here. Stalker there. What I loved about this was that you could follow along, and it had its own involved plot lines and stuff. Different romance interests than the cartoon. Different treatments of characters than the cartoon. Characters grew. Some characters died. And they had other things from the cartoon that were in the comic probably first, like the October Guard. Here's the famous silent interlude where it's an all silent issue. No one talks or anything. Snake Eyes infiltrates a Cobra Citadel. Pretty cool. And you got Storm Shadow and you got Scarlet. I could go through this one page by page. It's pretty neat stuff. What's funny is even when I read these today, and even when I read the new G.I. Joe comic, I want the toys. It's still in there for me. Here's Destro playing with I guess a Cobra Rattler or something. Let's jump ahead a bit. This is so great. They should do this more with other things. I know Image doesn't have a lot of other licensed material, but they're going to do a Transformers Compendium 1 sometime early next year. I don't know how that's going to turn out. When I look at the list of issues for that, it's less than 50. And I don't know if they can reproduce issue, I think it's 3, where Spider-Man's in it. Or any of the issues where Circuit Breaker is in it. Circuit Breaker was a Marvel character because Jim Shooter insisted she be seen in other Marvel comics to cement her as Marvel. Even though she debuted in Transformers, because he didn't want Hasbro to claim characters they were creating at Marvel, right? So I don't know. I have an IDW collection of Transformers, like the first 10 or 15 issues, and they have to do synopses for the comics where Marvel characters are in it. Here, G.I. Joe doesn't have that problem. I don't think they crossed it over too much with Marvel. Larry Hama probably put his foot down. Here's Destro being awesome. Here's Spirit. There he is. I can't remember the name of the pilot that was also a Native American who didn't don all this Indian motif, and they have an argument in one of the earlier issues of G.I. Joe. Here's Spirit's Hawk. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, you get all this great G.I. Joe adventure and action. All the intrigue with Cobra Commander and his son and everything. That was a whole thing in the comics. This might be him. I can't remember. There's Baroness. So let's jump ahead. There's Zaymot and Tamox and Zaymot, I think. There's the Joes here. Okay. Issue 50. It's Cobra Island. Let's see if I can get to issue 50. So here's Serpentor. So that's how far you reach, eh? Serpentor's involved. There's Zarena, I think. That's her name. So yeah, there you go. There's the G.I. Joe Compendium. This is pretty awesome. This was the best buy I made this week. It's so cool. And I love the look and feel of the old newsprint. So good. And it makes the art look proper. I don't think I would like it as much if it were glossy with all the, pastel painted on looking look. I love this better. This is a great buy. Just track it down, save up, and get it. Actually, I have the Super 7 figure of this guy, the reaction figure. They're making figures of characters from the comics as well. So yeah, there you have it. I recommend this highly, highly, highly. Even if you don't know much about G.I. Joe, this is a good buy to tuck into. You'll probably fall in love with these stories. They're so good. Lots of great military action in it, and not dumbed down and stupid for kids. Until next time, take care.